Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I'm so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 161st episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. And this week, we're going to talk all about Labor Day travel, why it works for travelers. First off, let me give you a little history of Labor Day. Now, growing up, I always thought of Labor Day in the way my dad looked at it because he was from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and they always went to the shore, the Jersey Shore, for Labor Day. And he told me that they had the Miss America pageant there for years in Atlantic City, and that extended the summer vacation. And that is one reason why they had that. So I've associated that with Labor Day weekend being the first Monday of September every year. But there is a little more history about Labor Day, and it goes all the way back to the 19th century labor movement. The first celebration was in New York City on September the 5th in 1882. And it was designed to honor American workers. It officially became a holiday in 1894, and the reason it started is because of labor movement activists and unions pushing for a day to recognize the strengths and efforts of the labor force who helped build America. We continue to celebrate Labor Day and Labor Day weekend with parades, picnics, and in present day, with travel, not just domestic, but also international. Many of us consider it to be the official end of summer, but we all know that for some, they consider the end of summer when school starts back. For others, it's not quite fall yet until it is official, but it is a good indicator. Most people consider summer from Memorial Day to Labor Day. Now, let's talk about some Labor Day trends this year. I found this very interesting. TSA said they expected 17.4 million people between the Thursday before Labor Day to September 3rd, which would be the Wednesday after. That is a lot of people, and it is definitely up from previous years. Why is domestic and international travel up for this Labor Day? There's several reasons. The number one being money. Both international and domestic flights have decreased since last year. Car rentals, way down, especially internationally. A study by AAA said that international car rental prices are down by 45% in some locations. Hotels, like I said, and airfare are down. And gas prices are at a 3-year low, which makes road trips especially popular this year. What are some popular locations in the U.S. for Labor Day weekend? You have your big ones like New York City, L.A., Miami, Chicago, also Orlando and Seattle are huge this year. College town destinations tied to football season, also very popular. And when I mentioned road trips being very popular, 64% of Labor Day weekend travelers, or even week travelers, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, are driving. So when was the best time to leave for Labor Day? Well, you're like, this is Monday. We're talking Labor Day right now. Why are we talking about this weekend like it's coming up? Well, I wanted to give you just a little bit of statistics that it was a wise idea for coming up for Labor Day to leave before lunch on Friday to avoid peak traffic Friday is the absolute busiest for rental car pickup day. And so if you can avoid it, you want to. Now, where are my guests going for Labor Day weekend and week? I have a lot of travelers in September, and this is what I'm really getting to. So I have clients that are traveling within the next week to Disney, the islands of Grenada, Curacao, St. Lucia, the Bahamas, and the always popular Jamaica. So why travel this weekend or week, as I'm going to mention again, for several reasons. For one, it's off season, and this is pretty much off season everywhere. September is the least expensive month of the entire year to travel to the Caribbean. But not just the Caribbean. If you wanted to go anywhere, prices are going to be down, especially from the summer. So it's off season. Prices are going to be way better, whether you're going to the beach or the mountains. Prices are better. Milder temps. So if you were going for a summer trip and you waited to the end versus saying go in July, the temps right now are down a little bit. Still warm enough to be in the water in most places where you would go in the summer, but overall the temps are down. You can use this time for a last summer hurrah or to jumpstart the fall. That's the great thing about it. So whether you're already envisioning going somewhere that is fall friendly or you want to get in the water one more time, enjoy some fun in the sun, Labor Day works for both. We've already talked about better prices, especially towards the end of the week. So the beginning part of Labor Day, which starts, that Thursday, Friday before Monday, that's going to be your peak pricing. So if you were to go that Thursday or Friday to Monday, you're paying peak. But if you were to take advantage and say, go on Labor Day for the week after, enjoy that whole week, then that's when the prices are going to start really decreasing. A lot of people are still recovering from summer vacations, or they're getting back in the groove of school, whether that's grade school, high school, college. So a lot of people are not traveling right now compared to in the summer. So those are all reasons why it is a fantastic time to travel. I have clients every year who plan to travel the first week of September. So not just Labor Day weekend, but the entire week. Again, if you're pulling kids out of school, a lot of people are hesitant because they think they just started back. Why am I going to take them out right now? Well, then there's a couple things to consider. They're not going to miss too much because they're just starting. You're also not going to miss that one day of the week. So if you're pulling them out for a whole week, instead of missing 5 full days, it's 4 days. Same goes for work. If you have a schedule where you're off for Labor Day, then you're not using as many hours if you're already getting that day. So that's a reason a lot of people use Labor Day week. I have some travelers that every year they know this is a week they're traveling, because whereas Memorial Day is the jump start of the holidays for summer, where everyone is going for senior trips, you have a lot of honeymoons end of May, right? So a lot of people are going the beginning of the summer. They're also trying to catch it before schools get out later in June, because our southern school schedule, we get out a little bit earlier than other states. So at the end of the summer for Labor Day, there are some schools that are just starting back, whereas we've been in school the whole month of August. We started August 1st this year, so they already have had a month. And then if you were to pull the kids out for the week, then that's great. If not, say you're like, okay, this is going to be a great time for an adults only trip. When I say prices the Caribbean are at an all-time low, I have had so many take advantage of last-minute deals, but I also have some that are already thinking about for next year. So let me talk just for a moment to you about how we can plan for your Labor Day vacation next year. So say this year, you're like, well, we didn't make any big plans. Go on a picnic. Take a hike, go for a bike ride. Just get outside and enjoy the day. You don't have to take a big trip every holiday. But what you can do now is you can plan ahead for next year. And so think about this. Consider moving your big July trip. If you're planning on a big July vacation, consider moving that to Labor Day week instead. And you could save thousands of dollars, especially if you're going with your family, not just a party of two, not just a couple. So consider moving it to Labor Day week to save a lot. Airfare is going to be down. Gas prices usually go even further down than in the summer when they're raised. And we've already talked about how September is the best price month to travel to the Caribbean. I've had clients going for as little as $1,100 before flights for 2 adults, all inclusive in the Caribbean right now. Theme parks. Maybe you're wanting to do your big theme park vacation in the fall and you're waiting for fall break. Makes sense, right? Because the kids are out of school for 2 days or maybe 3 days, maybe a full week. So then it really does work for your schedule. But again, remember, you already have that one day, Monday. So even if you did a 4 or 5 day trip, didn't even want to take the kids out the whole week, the theme parks, the major ones, Disney and Universal, already decorated for fall. Also, you have Dollywood and Silver Dollar City. Some of the smaller theme parks, they're already themed for fall right now as well. So you're still getting those great fall pictures without the crowds and with the lowest prices. So we are also taking advantage of this, and we are going to go to our theme park this month where it's decorated for fall without the crowds of your full fall break, which is in October, which October is a huge month for travel. So you're getting a jump on that. Also, if you're planning for next year, you can book now and you make payments for almost up to a year. And this is for Disney, Universal. Maybe you wanted to do a cruise in the Caribbean. Yes, this is hurricane season, so that's one reason why prices are down. But that's why you always get the travel protection. You should get it year-round, but especially in the fall. If you are traveling, I recommend getting the hurricane protection or the travel protection because you just never know what the weather can be. And you might not even be going to somewhere where hurricanes can hit. Like you're not going to the Caribbean or you're not going to Florida, but you could be flying in and out of an airport that could be affected by a hurricane. So always a good idea to get the travel protection no matter what. So that's a little bit of history about Labor Day, why you should think about Labor Day travel for next year to save a lot of money and give you some ideas for future Labor Day travel. This year, we did not take a Labor Day trip because we traveled a lot in July and August, and we are planning on traveling a lot more later this year and later this month. But that is all the time we have for now. I have some other great Labor Day trip ideas that I'm going to post on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate Whimsical Destinations. You work hard. You want to make sure you can play just as hard. So this is a time for you to take time with your family, to take time with your loved one, and enjoy some quality time. Have a wonderful adventure and a great Labor Day this year.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted, and Sun Bear Recording Studio where the interviews are recorded. We need your feedback and support. If you listen to the podcast on a player like iTunes, Google Podcast, or Amazon Music, please subscribe to the show and leave us a review. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcasts. Today's episode was produced by Melinda Marsalis. It was edited by Rick Williams and engineered by Chris Marsalis. The podcast technician is Joyce Grady.